What is going on, guys? It's Swift. If you guys are wondering what I'm doing in my room and why I'm filming here, it's because it's way too cold outside and I'd rather just be inside, and I decided to tell you guys, basically, if you can't tell by the title, everything that I have done in terms of coding to my car. I know there's been like a bunch of videos here and there thrown around about the coding that's been done, but I really don't have a video talking about every single little thing that Mike has coded to my car. So I figured, why not tell you guys basically everything that I have done coded to my car entirely from the very beginning to the end. So all the coding that I told you guys about in the BMW F30 coding possibilities video, I'm going to talk about all of that, and then I'm going to talk about everything I've coded since after that, because there's been a lot of times where I've just stopped by Mike's shop, we got bored, we coded something, and I didn't even make a video about it. So I'm just going to tell you guys all the coding, and I'm going to show you guys how it looks too, with a bunch of shots in the middle, so you don't just have to sit here and stare at my face the whole time. You can watch the features, the difference between the coding and whatnot. There's a lot of other things that I could have gotten done that I decided to not do, so don't think that this is all that you can do for the F30 chassis. But if you guys are wondering, if you're a new viewer, it's a 2013 BMW 328 xDrive. It has about 80,000 miles on it at this point, and yeah, so let's get right into it. So one of the first things that Mike had gotten coded for my car was being able to close the windows with the key fob. So not only are you able to unlock the car from the factory with the key fob, well, obviously you can unlock the car, but not only are you able to put the windows down, you're now able to close them. Why doesn't it come like this from the factory, you ask? Because in Europe it is allowed, in the United States there are regulations against it, so the people who assembled the car and coded the computer turned that option off because US regulations. I'm surprised they don't make a shower with helmets on, to be honest, because honestly that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Not only does it close the mirrors, the windows, it also closes the mirrors and it unfolds them also when you press unlock. Another thing that we really am so happy that he coded was the M Performance little startup thing that I mentioned in a couple of videos back. That was really cool. It made a huge difference with my steering wheel. Another thing we coded was getting the amber lights to turn off on my depot headlights and made them look 1,000 times better without that nasty, ugly, orange, peachy, yellowish turn signal light that's on all the time. We disabled it, so now what it does is it turns on only when I use my turn signals, and that is it. When I'm not using my turn signals, they are off. Another thing that Mike coded was daytime running lights in the rear tail lights. So basically those nice LED strands in the tail lights stay on 24/7. They're never off. I really like that because now I don't always have to turn on my headlights, like they're always on, because those you can actually see during the day pretty well, and they make the car look really nice from the back. So I decided to tell Mike to code that on 24/7, which is really cool. That's definitely something that you could look into. That shouldn't be too hard to code, even on Carly. He also changed my turn signal stock to, instead of turning in the lane change mode when you click it down once, instead of it doing it 3 times, it blinks 5 times, which is sweet. Another thing that he coded, he made it so the fog lights stay on when I pull the high beam stock, or when I put the high beams on for a long period of time. So like when you push the stock forward and the high beams stay on, so you don't have to keep holding it. Normally your fog lights would turn off, but now mine stay on. One of the biggest things that I really requested for, that I totally forgot to tell him to do, was turn auto start stop off. Not permanently, but to have it memorize or remember what setting you have it on even after you turn the car off. So before, it comes from the factory, as you turn on the car, you drive around, it turns off, you realize, oh, I forgot to turn off auto start on off. Once you turn it off, you drive around the city or wherever you're driving, you get home, you turn it off, the car was turned off with the feature turned off. You turn the car back on the next morning and it is turned back on, which is annoying because a lot of us don't like the feature at all. So it's cool to have it remember what you had it as in your last setting when you turned the car off. So that's definitely something you guys should look into. Another thing he coded, which a lot of you probably would not advise or be mad at me for doing, but DVD in motion, which I rarely use. I never use it, but it's just something I have in there because I do a lot of long drives. So it's cool to have there in case, you just want to watch a movie while you eat even, and you just want to kill time. If you're waiting for somebody and they're taking forever, mom, if you're watching this, I'm talking about you. Another thing that Mike coded that I also rarely use is digital speedometer. So basically the speedo is shown in the just like little box under the gauges where your time and Celsius or Fahrenheit of the outside ambient temperature would be written. You can switch it over, instead of showing like the date or something or the mileage or the MPG you're doing, you could also show it to show digital speedometer. I don't know why it didn't come from the factory like that. Another thing that he coded was live tire pressure monitor sensor reading. So the PSI reading of your tires is live and pretty accurate, I'm not gonna lie. It's a really cool feature. Basically, you can just go into your iDrive settings and then you can see like your tires like you always used to, but now you can see a live PSI of each tire, and it's pretty accurate. And basically you're able to tell if one tire has a little bit less air than the other. You can just go and fill it up, which is really cool to know and really sweet to have as a feature. Another feature is turning on the fog lights alongside the welcome lights. So in the settings, if you don't know what welcome lights are, basically it's when your lights turn on when you press unlock, which is cool. But before we coded it, it would only turn on, you know, the daytime running lights, and that would probably be it. Maybe even the amber lights and the tail lights and the license plate lights. But now, along with all of that, Mike coded it to turn on the fog lights, which is pretty cool, especially since I have yellow fog lights. So it's not just like the factory fog lights. I like seeing my yellow fog lights when I'm unlocking the car. So that's a pretty cool feature. One of my favorites he coded that everybody absolutely has to get. You guys gotta remember, my car is an my car was and is a base model, so it didn't come with any of this stuff. So your car probably did come with this stuff, so don't comment, oh, my car already has this, because a lot of cars come with this stuff and a lot of cars don't. So one thing that he coded was sports automatic transmission. A way to tell that you have it is if you throw the gear shifter into DS. Basically, DS means that you just have the regular sport mode. If you have the sports If you have the sports automatic transmission, it means that when you put the stock into DS, it actually says S1, and then it'll show your gear shifts. And then obviously if you change it up or down, it'll go to M1, M2, M3. Basically what this does is it basically codes the transmission to shift a lot faster, and just gears are changed and shifted differently. I'm not too sure about what else it changes, but one thing I will tell you, it does make a huge difference in gear changes. And when you have an exhaust or a muffler delete or resonator delete like I do, you do hear a difference in gear changes because it's a lot faster, and downshifting gets a lot more fun. So definitely recommend to get that coded. He also coded Sport Plus, which basically is the same as sport mode, but traction control is off. And then he also coded launch control, which basically, if you don't know what it is, you hold the brake down all the way, which wasn't working at first. And the reason why it wasn't working at first was because I wasn't holding the brake down all the way to the floor. If you hold the brake down all the way to the floor, you have to be in Sport Plus mode with the gear shifter in DS, not in manual mode. So basically you pull it over to DS and don't change the gears yourself. Hold the brake down all the way, then press the gas all the way to the past the clicking point, and then it'll show launch control active. It'll rev up to 3K, you let go of the brake, and then brace yourself, because it is actually pretty sick, especially if you have xDrive. Another thing that he coded was sport mode configuration. Now I know that sounds like, what are you saying? Basically you can make it so when you're in sport mode, you can configure it you can change your gears. Let me stop. You can configure it so that when you change like into sport mode, you can keep the steering wheel stiff and keep the car like revs, like the way it pulls slower, or you can make it so, you can basically make it so you have sport mode with lighter steering, which I don't know why you would do that, but you can configure it to do so, which is pretty cool. Another thing that he coded that you guys probably wouldn't do unless you get the M Sport steering wheel, he coded the paddle shifters to work, and he coded my car to go from using a dual stage airbag to a single stage airbag, which was definitely needed for my airbag to work. Another thing that he coded, which I totally like didn't need to do, but I had to do because I got my M Sport front bumper, was code the headlight washers off. I actually probably would have done that even with my old bumper, because the headlight washers are honestly annoying and they really just don't do what they're meant to do, and they just make your hood all wet and leave water spots. So yeah, code that stuff off. I think that's pretty much everything. I have one more thing to say, and then that's really it. If I forgot anything, Mike, comment if you can remember anything, but I think this is it. I'm not sure if he meant to code this into my car. It's a really weird thing, and I didn't like it at first. Basically, when the car is on and you lock it, when you come from the factory, when the car comes from the factory and you just lock it and you shut the door and the car is on, you step out, it doesn't do anything, it just locks. But now when I lock it, it honks twice. And when I first heard it, I was like, oh, what is that? It doesn't make it feel like a BMW. It's really two ugly honks. Like, it's, you know, like when a honk is pressed very quick, it sounds really weird. It doesn't sound like how it should. That's basically how it is. But the shit actually saved me once. Basically what had happened was, I didn't realize that my car was off, which I have no idea how, with that ticking sound that comes from these F30s, from these N20s and N26s. I didn't realize it was off. This was obviously before I got my exhaust, my muffler delete and stuff. But I guess I didn't realize it was off, and I think I was like going through something. I think I was doing something or something was happening and I didn't realize it was off. I thought I was under the assumption that the car was off, and I locked it and I turned around and I started like walking the other way, and then it honked twice and I was like, oh shit, the car's on. It's actually a really neat feature considering this keyless generation that we're in. I'm not a huge fan of it. I do like it. It has its convenient things, but it also has its ups and downs. So that's a pretty cool thing to have. If you want that coded, be sure to do that as well. The moral of the story is, the moral of this video is that there's so much you can do to your cars, to BMWs specifically, coding wise. I know it's very overlooked, even though it's not, but it also is, because the thing about it is that you can change so much about your car. You can customize it to exactly how you want. You can make it so even though I didn't do this, you can make it so if somebody's sitting in the passenger seat and they didn't put their seatbelt on, you can make it so it doesn't the gong doesn't chime when the passenger doesn't have a seatbelt on, or you can even do it when you don't have your seatbelt on. If, I don't know, God knows why you would ever want to do that. But yeah, you can make it so it can do so many other little things, and it's really cool because it basically personalizes your car for you, and it does make a huge difference, and it isn't that expensive, and you can do it yourself with iCarly. That's my favorite show, iCarly. You can do it yourself with Carly. Yeah, it's like not something that's very difficult to do, and it's not expensive, and things that are very cost effective and make a huge difference, those are like the mods that I love, because how awesome is that? You don't have to spend as much and you can feel a huge difference, and it's really fun to see the differences in your car. I find it fun, like, to see it. One time it was clicking 3 times when you do the turn signal, and now it does it 5 times. It's really cool to me. I really find it cool, especially because I was majoring in computer software engineering in school, so I think it's really awesome. Huge shout out to Mike. Thank you so much, bro, for doing all this coding that you have done in this past year to my car. I love you very much. If you guys are looking to do coding and you live in the tri-state area, hit up Mike. Here's his Instagram right down below, BSA_coding. DM him. He will give you a fair price, and he will basically do whatever you want to on the list. He gives you like a nice list and everything. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll definitely get back to you. If I don't get upset. Something goes wrong with this social media stuff, and once you pass like a certain amount of followers or subscribers, I don't know why, but it stops notifying you. Actually, it does make sense, because like for those people that are like in the 500,000 range, I guess like they get DM'd like crazy, but I still like, you know, talking to you guys. Sometimes I enjoy talking to you guys more than I enjoy talking to like my real life friends, so it's kind of weird. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Take care. Peace out.